That behind me is tyre shredding, fuel guzzling proof that buying an adventure bike doesn't mean you have to go slowly. KTM's motto is ready to race, and even when they build a comfortable touring, luggage wielding road adventure bike, they still stick true to that ethos. It is bonkers, it is fast, and it is an absolute hoot to ride on a bumpy road. So what's so good about the new Super Adventure? Well, first up, this is the S model. There are two models, there's the S and the R. They're the ones that matter. The R is the knobbly tired off-road lunatic. The S model is supposed to be the thinking man's model. It's the mag wheel road-going version of the Super Adventure. It's supposed to be a bit more tarmac biased, but still plenty capable of taking in gravel, potholes, and a bit of light off-road. What KTM forgot to mention is it's completely insane. We know their Super Dukes are going to be mental. We know all their hard and out sports bikes are going to be crazy, wild wheelie machines, but this is supposed to be a big, comfy touring adventure bike. I'm not going to lie, the first time I rode it, it confused the hell out of me. I was expecting nice, comfy, cruisy, you know, an adventure bike, a road-going adventure bike. And what I got was this pointy, angry thing that just kept wheeling everywhere and wheel spinning and jumping, and it was brilliant, but it totally sideswiped me. I did not see that coming. Not one bit. The cool thing about it is it's absolutely loaded with more tech than you can ever imagine. If I were to list all of the technological features here, you'd all be asleep before I'd got halfway through it. The key thing to remember is they have done a good job of making the technology useful on the bike. What I'm talking about here is the rider modes, the throttle maps, the traction control modes, the suspension modes. Using those settings, you can take the bike from the pointy, sporty, angry thing it was when I first got on it, and with a few button presses, turn it into still quite a ballistic, fast motorcycle, but one that's a bit softer, a bit more compliant, a bit more comfortable. All that happens within a bracket. That is never going to be a pussycat, purring, smooth, cruising along bike like something, let's say, a BMW 1250 GS Adventure. This sits always to the sporty side of that bike in whatever mode you put it in. Even if you wrapped it in duvets and pillowcases, it would still be a sharper, harder, edgier bike than the 1250 Adventure is ever going to be. It's a KTM. It does what it says on the tin. Wheelies, madness, and skids. What is the point of an adventure bike with mag wheels? That's definitely something that I've always been a bit confused by. I'm a rider who likes an adventure bike for going off-road as much as I want to go on-road. I want to be able to blast down a mountain pass, turn onto the gravel, and hit every rock, jump, gully on the way. So I've always, in all honesty, sneered a bit at adventure bikes that come on mag wheels, cast wheels, anything other than a proper off-road spoked wheel, and certainly adventure bikes on anything other than knobbly tyres. I might have to reconsider my childish opinions about that, because on a dry sunny day, the road tyres have proved to be very capable on trail. And the payback with that is when we were on the mountain road today, the grip and the lean angle I was able to carry was definitely far more than I'd have been comfortable to do on knobbly tyres and on a 21-inch front wheel and less grip. Don't think of this as a compromised off-road bike. Think of it as a really comfortable supermoto. That's definitely the vibe it gave me. Whizzing around on that thing really reminded me of the old KTM 990 SMT, which was their 990 supermoto made into a sort of toury bike. It's got that same attitude. It is a badly behaved motorcycle. It wants you to wheelie, it wants you to skid, it wants you to back it into every corner, and they've even put the modes in the electronics that let you do that. It's like they know we're going to be stupid. I love it. This bike is more like a supermoto than any adventure bike I've ridden. It is brappy, skiddy, angry, and it is most at home on a single track back road with gravel and grass growing out the middle. So let me talk a little bit about some of the features I found very handy on it. But one really nice touch is KTM have a programmable button on the right hand switchgear. And what that lets you do is program, I had heated grips and rider mode just set on that button. So regardless of all the other menus you've got to remember, you can flick that button and know exactly what the bike's going to do, turn your heated grips on, keep your fingers toasty. In this world of complicated bikes and motorcycles getting more and more high tech, Having a little button that you can program yourself to do exactly what you want, I think is really useful. I've already touched on being able to customize the bike. This one comes with the optional Rally Pro mode, which means you can have a rally setting on the bike and configure even more. You can choose traction control, slip and slide, how far the bike drifts. You can choose ABS mode, throttle response, suspension. You can actually tune the bike even more. And after several days of riding it and fiddling with it, I ended up using the rally mode to kind of fine tune the bike exactly how I wanted it and then leaving it in that setting for the whole ride. Other riders might prefer to toggle back and forth between rain, road, street, sport, off-road as they change their terrain. But for me, I found it really useful to sort of customize one setting and just use that all the time. So here's the thing. I've ridden lots of different adventure bikes in lots of different conditions and terrains over the years. I've always come back to the fact that the 1200 GS, the 1250 GS, is an annoyingly easy bike to ride. I'm bored to the back teeth of saying it. There used to be this chasm between the 1200 GSs and all the other large sort of capacity big adventure bikes. In terms of being easy to ride and maneuver at low speed, the GS was head and shoulders above everything. Certainly there were areas where they eclipsed the GS, but that was always the GS's pièce de résistance. Now when KTM bought out the 790 Adventure, they massively closed that gap down. They built a bike that was fast, capable, and really, really easy to ride at low speed and slow control maneuvers. They've done the same trick with this new 1290 Super Adventure. I was turning it around in awkward, tight places all day today, and to the point where I kept trying to find harder places to turn around to see if I could get it to feel unstable. And it didn't. There's no getting around the fact that it is a big, heavy adventure bike, but it does hide its weight well, and I'm going to say it's one of the easiest of the big capacity KTM adventure bikes to ride that KTM have produced to date. What on earth is the KTM Super Adventure S for? Honestly, if you'd have asked me after my first ride, I didn't have an answer for you. I was so confused by it. I was so expecting a heavier, slightly more lumbering, big capacity adventure bike, and what I got was this mental supermoto of a thing that was surprisingly easy to ride when you did do slow maneuvers. It took me a good few tanks of fuel to get my head around it, and now what I'm saying is, if you want to go fast, but you want an adventure bike, if you want to step away from sports bikes and get some of that off-road gravel capability, but you don't want to give up on the adrenaline, the fun, the skids and the wheelies, go and buy one of those, or at least go and test ride one. It is kind of the best bits of both worlds. It is bonkers, fast, irresponsible and stupid, but pretty damn comfy, capable of bumpy roads, off-road, mud, puddles, fords, jumps, and you can stick loads of luggage and a pillion on and ride to the other end of Europe. What are its shortfalls? Well, I don't think it's as comfortable as a 1250 GS Adventure. I don't think it's as high performance around the corners as a KTM Duke 890R. So if you want more road performance, buy one of those. If you want more comfort, go buy a GS. As with any bike, you've got to go and test ride it and see if it matches you. I've always thought that KTMs fire themselves at a very specific type of rider. It tends to be a more confident rider. It tends to be a more sporting type of rider. This one is exactly that, but with the added bonus that it's a little bit easier to ride and a lot more forgiving at low speed. Go and test ride one. I promise you won't be able to behave yourself. The base price is just under 15 grand, but to be honest, once you start chucking the accessories at it, you're creeping up to 16, 17 grand. 17 grand on an off-road bike? That's a lot of money, but then when you go and ride one, suddenly it all makes sense. It's fast, it's loud, I think it's pig ugly, but it makes me smile every time I ride it.